On this week's edition, I'm going to be doing UFC London predictions and looking and recapping on recent events.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live from the Isle of Man in the UK. This is John and Mike's MMA Corner.
Welcome to the show and thank you very much for joining me. Okay, let's kick off. I'm going to do the UFC London predictions and review of the card for you all, okay? I know it's a little bit late going out, but hey, better late than never. I'm going to talk about some stuff that's happened recently in the past week or so and some fight results as well. UFC London card, all the fighters weighed in, actually in record time, 30 minutes. It was fantastic to see. So let's start at the very bottom and work our way up to the main event. First fight on the card is the ladies. You've got Lena Landsberg against Lucy Podolova. This is a rematch. These girls fought previously outside of the UFC on a domestic scene, and it was a decision victory for Lena Landsberg. This time round, I actually do see it going Lena Landsberg way again. I've watched Lucy's fights. I just don't see her being that crisp and clean as a striker. Now, with her grappling, it's more of the clinch side of things that she likes to do. She's very good when she's nice and dirty boxing, you know, get on the single collar tie, throw those strikes. I still feel Lena Landsberg, all credit to her, she took on Cyborg, which was a crazy thing to do, but she did it. I think she will definitely evolve and be a lot better. Previously, after watching her fights prior to the Cyborg fight, I just see her being a bit more of a well-rounded fighter. I'll go with Lena Landsberg. Decision win? Yeah, go decision win. I've got a decision because not often fights get finished in that weight class. Next up, I've got to go with Scott Askham against Bradley Scott. Let's talk Bradley Scott. This guy has not had 2 fights in a row since 2012. You know, he's had injuries. He's not taken fights regularly enough, in my opinion. He's looking in good shape for this fight, but at the same time, I think that Scott Askham, he's been ATT training. I think he's just a more well-rounded fighter. I know Bradley Scott been at MMA lab, but I think Scott's been more active. He's definitely got that range. He's a stronger wrestler and fighter, I think, all around. Bradley Scott will try to wear down Scott Askham, but in my opinion, I think I'm going to put down to Scott Askham second round TKO because I think Bradley Scott's going to be quite fresh. So that's my pick on that one. Next up, you have Ian Entwistle fighting on Brett Johns. Now, if you know about me, big fan of Brett Johns, a good friend, he's a good man, had him on the show a few times. Now, Brett Johns went undefeated in his career, won his first fight in the UFC. Dude is all-round, awesome fighter, you know, good striking, good grappling and submission game. He's just evolving slowly in every kind of department, not kind of excelling at one in particular, which makes him a very complex fighter to deal with, because if someone's strong in one area, generally the other areas kind of weaken off a bit, but for Brett, he just seems to have a very good package as a fighter. Now, Ian Entwistle, he's a one-trick pony. He is a heel hook specialist. He will shoot in, rip your heel off if he can in the first minute or two when you're dry, so there's a lot of friction. But if he can't get that heel hook, he will stick with it, silly enough, and he will get pounded into the ground like he has been like opponents have been doing to him. And I can't see Brett Johns getting caught up in this silly little game of leg locks. I think Brett's going to try and use the footwork that he has, which is very elusive. Keep the range, keep the distance, and when he starts hitting Entwistle is very weak mentally as a fighter. He breaks very quickly. I think you'll see Entwistle just get destroyed really in this one, and hopefully the UFC will cut him off, because I'm not a fan of a gym bully, and that is exactly what he is. Next up on the card, also I've got Brett Johns. Brett Johns said first round. I'm going to say first round as well. We'll go Brett Johns first round finish. TKO. Now, Leon Edwards is fighting Vicente Luque. This is going to be probably one of the quieter fights on the card happening, which will turn out to be one of the more kind of violent fights. Vicente Luque, he's very aggressive. He's very forward-moving, likes to finish fights. He's not a guy who will lay and pray. He's got good striking. He's evolving very much at a speed that is quite surprising. He's starting to turn into a very good competitor in this welterweight division. Leon Edwards, again, he had a huge victory against Albert Tumanov. Shock victory, because, you know, no one really saw it happening. And he's got a good momentum on him. Now, he's very calm in his fights. He's very tactical with his striking and picking his shots. I think Vicente's going to really put the pressure on him, trying to actually probably grapple with him a bit and trying to get him down. I'm probably going to pick Vicente Luque on this one, only because I think he's a surprise package in the welterweight division. He's one of those quiet ones in the lower ranks that's going to be coming up that we don't really hear about too much. I'll pick Vicente Luque. Ooh, submission. I'll go wild. I'll go with submission, second round. Okay. Next up, you have... Okay, now this one is very interesting. If you like your big boys, we have a middleweight bout. Now, we've got a guy make his debut in the middleweight division, Tom Breeze. Now, he fought in the welterweight division for the UFC, and now he's got the middleweight class because he was just... I won't lie. If you've never met Tom Breeze, he's a gorilla. He's a bloody beast. Right? I stood next to him, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, dude, I cut down a welterweight, and then I cut down a middle. I'm cutting down a middleweight now as well because it's too much of a weight cut. It's like how I could not understand how he does it. It is obscene. He is huge. Anyway, so he's fighting Bambuse, and Bambuse again. He is, for me, this is a very contrasting fight because we've got two guys who powerful finishers. Now with Tom Breeze, he is technically better fighter, very much so. Now I'm not saying Bambuse hasn't been working on stuff, but when you look at the martial arts perspective, I think Tom's more polished off, but Bambuse is just so wild with some of his strikes and so just aggressive and explosive and just surprising more than anything. That's something that could take Tom Breeze out, and Tom has to be very much on point and prepared for this. But I don't think we'll have to worry about it. I think his height and length will definitely play a factor in this for Tom. As you can see him usually jabbing away, boxing away. And I think we'll get Tom Breeze getting the victory here. Probably by ways of a TKO, because I think you'll see counter strikes being a factor with Bambuse trying to close that distance and just wailing in with some silly strikes and Tom Breeze catching and clipping him. So I'm going to TKO. I'm going to first round because I think first round's going to be a big one. I think we're going to see a lot more action, and I think it's going to be first round finish. Next up, 155 division, you have Mark Dieske. I don't know what he's going to say his lad's name. I'm going to feel terrible for it. Against Teemu Pagalan. Now, Teemu Pagalan, he is a man from Finland in the UFC. He's been fighting in the lightweight division. He's not set it alight. He's been doing what he needs to do to get the victory. So he can't even have a go at this lad. But I feel like he's not doing enough to really make himself a kind of a star. He's very relaxed, but he's fights as well. He's not showing the skill sets I feel is going to get him up the ranks either. His conditioning is one factor that plays a big part of it, and also in general, I just don't think all round he's really up there with the higher echelon. Now, Mark has been training at ATT with Scott Askham. He's been training with absolute monsters. I think this is a chance, especially because he had his first fight already in the UFC in Manchester. I think now he can get the nerves out of those ways and calm down and relax. And I think ATT will hopefully have brought him in and showed him a lot more patience with his striking and shown him to pick his shots more. And I feel that we're going to get a finish here from Mark. I'm going to go second round because Teemu is long. He's a smart fighter. He's smart in the sense that he will get away. He won't be sticking around. Second round, Mark, TKO or knockout. You know, sort of pedantic. Anyway, Timothy Johnson back in the UK soil after his decision loss, which I think he won against Volkov in Belfast. Which, anyway, it was a super tight fight anyway, but it was actually a really good heavyweight fight. He looks in great shape for this as well, and he's taking on Daniel Omalenchik. Yep, good luck saying it as well. Okay, so I feel that Timothy Johnson's got this one in the bag. You know, Daniel is the kind of classic fighter again. He's got a good first round in him, and after that, his gas drops dramatically because he goes not for combinations, but for power. He goes for one-shot strike. He will really go for the jab, stepping in with the overhand. That's kind of like the bread and butter for Daniel. He likes to head down, jab, and then shoot over the top. He's going to have to do this with Tim because Tim's a big boy compared to Daniel. But I can see Tim getting this finished. You know, I can see him getting the finisher on. I think he will definitely wear Daniel out. I think if he gets him to the ground, that's when he can start to get a lot of ground pound on him, wear him out, get that weight on him, start to gas him out a bit more. But I think second round finish for Timothy Johnson, definitely. I can see that happening. You know, maybe getting the side control, just finish him off with some ground and pound and elbows. Let's go to a rematch again on the card, a second rematch, because someone kind of, in my opinion, I think he bitched a bit, and I think he should have just took it on the chin, which he did anyway. But Francimar Barros against Darren Stewart. Now, Darren Stewart won his UFC debut against Francimar, back him down in Brazil, fair and square in my opinion. I know there was a clash of heads, but Darren was going to win. Like it wasn't the clash of heads that made that. Didn't make a colossal difference in my opinion, but He's got an opportunity now to do it in front of his home crowd again, stamp his mark, get the win, and then get down to middleweight, because that is the goal, is you want to get into here, get his light heavyweight fight out of the way, and then go down to middleweight. And he's going to be a big problem for people in the middleweight, Darren Stewart. Now, Francois, in my opinion, he's going to come out a bit different in this fight. He's going to be a bit more tactical and a bit more thinking, rather than trying to stand and bang, because he's realised that Darren is quick. He's got good striking, good combinations, but I still feel Darren Stewart's going to get the finish here, and I think Darren will do it in the first round again, because he's got good such speed and judgment of distance. I think he's going to catch Francois again. I think Francois is going to try and tangle him up, hold him, keep him tight, keep him against the cage, tire him out. Because if he saw Darren's fight in Cage Warriors, he saw that if he could do that and gas Darren Stewart out a bit, it can help him a lot. But I don't think it's going to work this time around. The main event for the prelims is Joe Duffy against Razi Medadi. Now, Medadi is a guy who, in my opinion, is a very good lightweight fighter, but he's not always the guy who turns up into the cage. He always seems to be just falling short sometimes, or he's maybe bit, I'm not saying gun shy, but he just missing that final link to get the fights finished. Whereas Joe Duffy, I know he got smashed against Dustin Poirier, but Dustin Poirier is a beast at 155, and Dustin Poirier showed that wrestling can conquer the jiu-jitsu. And Joe Duffy, though, for me, he's got great jit, great striking, great boxer, very good boxer in the UFC, good footwork, great kicks. The way he puts it all together is seamless. He's up at TriStar, constantly training there. I can really see a beautiful performance coming here from Mr. Duffy. And I'm going to pick Duffy for the finish. I've got to pick him for the submission victory. I'm not saying he can't put Medadi out, but I just think he'll probably wobble or drop Medadi and he'll get on top of him for the finish and submission in the... I'm going to go second round. No, I'm going to first round. Go wild. First round. Let's do it, people. Arnold Allen is kicking off the main card against Manuwa. Amir Khani. There you go. Amir Khani, okay, against Arnold Allen. Featherweight fight, which, to be honest, there was meant to be Arnold Allen against Betchik in the Manchester card at UFC 204. It didn't happen, which would have been a colossal featherweight bout. This, again, is a very good featherweight bout, but I do still feel Manuwa's done the talk, he's done a lot of flash. He's not fought the strongest featherweight guys about, though, that's the thing. In his UFC record, the guys he's fought aren't the top echelon. Now, Mike Wilkinson's a good fighter, don't get me wrong, that kid is good, but he got outclassed on the grappling side of things. Amir Khani is a very good grappler in that fight. When he comes up against Arnold Allen, Arnold's a very strong guy, very strong for a featherweight, and he's really good grappler. Like, people probably don't realise how good of a grappler he is, but he is slick and quick, and he is going to fight this weekend, and he's going to put a showcase on. I feel he's going to really turn it on to Amir, and I think Amir Khan is going to just kind of fluster and get lost in this fight. I'm going to pick Arnold Allen. I'm going to go third round TKO, because I think Amir Khan is probably a bit tough for himself, but I think you're going to see Arnold just being patient, breaking down, third round, get that finish off. After that, you've got the people's main event. Brad Pickett against Marlon Vera. I feel like I take my hat off to Marlon Vera, but my hair's a mess. He stepped in short notice because Henry Rones pulled out and done a catch weight at 140. So no problems there for both fighters. At least the fight's on. Brad gets his last bout for the UFC in his hometown. It's a poignant moment. I hope Brad doesn't let any of the emotions get to him, any of that kind of affect him or put him off, so to speak. I want to see him go in there and put on a showcase. I think that if he's smart, I think he'll go to his wrestling, because there's a big difference in range. He's got the power, but I think Brad can use the wrestling to start with in the first round to kind of make Vera kind of tire out a bit, and then get the striking, use the striking maybe in the second round. I'm going to go for Brad Pickett for the win. If I don't pick him, I'll be an asshole. So I'm going to pick Brad Pickett for the victory. I'm going to go decision victory. I think it's going to be a decision, because I think he'll probably just use a lot of wrestling and tie him up a lot. But if he gets the submission or finish, that place will go absolutely ballistic. Next up, we have in the co-main event, which was kind of threw in. I think they kind of threw this in because it felt like they were a bit short on the card. Was Alan Jouban against Gunnar Nelson. it was a surprise matchup between the two guys. I know Alan Jouban has done some good stuff recently in the UFC. He's a nice striker. He's got some good finishing with his striking, but Gunnar Nelson, he's a bad man. He's a bad dude. Like, he is like a poor man's Damian Maia, but even still, that's a badass dude. Like, he is a nasty guy. Like, his striking is something that will catch a lot of guys out, and it has done already. You know, it's that kind of karate kyokushin, that kind of wide stance, back and forth movement, kind of Stephen Thompson, so to speak, one of the boys kind of stuff. So that catches you out, and then when you get on top of you on the ground, oh my good lordy, it looks like a blanket. It looks like a Monday morning blanket. You don't want to get out. You can't get out. It's just like, it just gets tighter and harder to move. I can't see Jouban winning this fight. I either see Gunnar Nelson finishing him on the feet or submitting him. I can't pick really, but I'm going to go with striking. I think Gunnar's going to finish him on the feet. And I'm going to go with first round finish. Go first round finish for Gunny. Let's do it. Let's go fucking crazy, people. Main event time. I feel like they just put this main event together because Jimmy didn't have anyone in the light heavyweight division that they could match him up with at the time. I feel like Corey Anderson is still a bit early in that progression to the top echelon of the kind of light heavyweight division, the top 10 kind of thing. I don't think Corey's off that level. But then again, you've got Ryan Bader, who's signed to Bellator. You know, that's another loss, huge loss, because he's still in his prime, Ryan Bader. So they've lost Ryan Bader to Bellator, so that's another guy gone. So it's one of those things where they probably were a bit short. They've put this match up. Corey's got some good wrestling, very good grappler. It's a 5-round fight though, and I can't see guys that size doing that kind of fighting that Corey Anderson likes to do for 5 rounds. You're going to gas, you're going to tie, your takedowns will get sloppy, you'll get reckless. One of those shots are going to land from Jimmy Manuwa, and it's going to hurt. You know, Jimmy Manuwa hits hard. Like, he admits it himself. He's not a gas man. Like, he doesn't have tons of gas. He's so thick set with the muscle. He hits hard with his strikes to finish you early. So over time, you know, lactic acid builds up. Everything gets harder to throw hard. But I'm going to go with Jimmy. I think he'll get first round, if I'm honest with you. I just don't see Corey Anderson getting that much out of this. I think it's a shame they put them for Corey, but I think it's a Jimmy win here. Now, Jimmy doesn't deserve a title fight after this. He says he does, but I don't think he does, to be fair. It's Corey Anderson. He's not a top echelon guy. I think he should maybe try and fight Shogun. I think if he gets Shogun, he'll finish Shogun, and then he'll get that title fight. Totally, absolutely. But then again, it'd be nice to get another brick in a title fight and get a shot at get a stab at the title. So that's the UFC London prediction. I'm just going to mention as well, the World Series of Fighting we've got a card on this weekend. It's getting looked over. There's a fight on there, Lance Palmer versus Andre Harrison. Big fight there, big matchup this one, because Lance Palmer is a kind of World Series of Fighting kind of fighter. I think he's managed by that Ali guy. Yeah, exactly. I've talked about him before. For the featherweight title. Andre Harrison is a pain in the ass. If you've never fought him, or if you've never seen him fight, he is a guy who will just nullify anything you have to offer. He's tough as nails, super solid wrestler, and he will just string it together. And I'm telling you, he's going to win this fight. He's going to beat Lance Palmer. Take away that shine for World Series of Fight, which they'll be good about, because Lance Palmer's like their little poster boy guy, one of their poster boys. So yeah, I think Andre Harrison's going to get the win. They've got a heavyweight title as well, Ivanov against Jordan. No one really knows much about the heavyweight division in World Series of Fighting, kind of like Bellator. It's not one that's going to be missed, but it's happening. Let's get over it. Let's look back, though, now to what's happened in the week. And also last week, we had a couple of fight cards on which, I got to be honest, 13 hours straight of MMA. It was tough, but it was fun. I enjoyed it. The adrenaline kept keeping me going. You know, I didn't have a second win. I had about a 6th win. Let's go to the ACB card that happened in Manchester. I was good. I was thinking and toying about going. I figured Matt and I might have to go to the Cage Warriors event in April in Liverpool. So that's certainly one I might look into. But yeah, you had a couple of great results. I've got a couple of guys here. So you had Chris Bungard, who got a triangle finish. Now, a flying triangle finish. This is good for him and also in general, because the UFC announced they're going to Glasgow in July. He could try maybe get one more fight in before then, if he's smart, and maybe try not to pick someone who's too much of a pain in the ass, but you know, good chance to getting a win. They might. I'm not saying they will sign him, but if he wants to push for it, because who knows? You've got Paul Craig, Mark Godbeer, because he's up at Scotland there as well, train up there. Stevie Ray, Joe Calderwood, Potentially Robert Whitefoot's going to try and push himself to get back signed up for the card and back into the UFC. But you've got those names in there already for that card. It's going to be interesting what they do with that Glasgow card with some of the fighters around. Robert Whitefoot, like I said, he fought on the same card as well as Chris. He got a finish against Nampalm in 21 seconds. Lovely just guillotine. It was a poor attempt from Nampalm trying to go the takedown. Left his neck out. Kind of deserved it, let's be honest. If you're going to be stupid enough at that kind of level to do something like that, be sloppy at the very start of the fight. Third round, you kind of can get away with it because you're tired. Look, Dean Garnett as well put on a hell of a performance on that card. Dean Garnett is a talented, super talented British fighter who is looked under because he's not had a fight recently. He's been just training his ass off. He's come out and put a brilliant striking array on. Like, he looked so good in that bout. So good. His striking looked crisp. Everything was mixed up. Spinning back kicks, the lot. Finished with the spinning back kick, technically, because he put the fight down, but then he finished with strikes. He is a guy to look out for in general. If you don't know who he is really good. He's a really good submission artist, but now he's got the striking, you're going to have a problem with him. Look, Andy DeVent put to sleep Danny Mitchell. That was unexpected, a surprise. Andy DeVent admitted this last year of competing, stepped in, nearly got caught in a guillotine again with a takedown. Sloppy British wrestling. I know, Brits are crap, get over it. And look, and then he just hammer-fisted down on Danny Mitchell and put him to sleep. Now, I don't know if it's because Danny Mitchell probably maybe could be the reason why he got knocked out, because he hasn't fully recovered from that knockout from Jake Boswick. And that kind of an effect, if you come back maybe a bit soon, maybe he needs like a year out before he comes back again, but who knows. Look, you had another one, Agnov is another one who got a win. Ali Bagov got a win. Sol Rogers lost, which was a huge thing for his career, but at the same time, it's a lesson. On a short notice, 1 day notice against Arul Perite, he got choked out. He got choked to sleep. It was insane to watch it. He looked like he got outclassed all around the whole time, the whole fight. But that's a big loss for him. Look, Brendan Loughnane, Mike Wilkinson was the co-main event. Huge fight, rematch, bang. Brendan did not mess around. These two guys were training hard for this fight to get prepped. Brendan went in there with a striking clinic and finished Mike Wilkinson in, I think it was about a minute or something. I can't remember. It wasn't like at the time, but all I know was quick. Flawless performance. If he's not signed to the UFC for this upcoming UFC Glasgow card, I will eat my hat. I'll be astonished if they don't sign it back. Honestly, it's bonkers. And then at the very end, the main event, Luke Barnett, looking to be a 3-time champion, middleweight champion for 3 different promotions, would be outside the UFC, obviously, but would just be kind of simultaneously be insane against the middleweight legend, so to speak, outside of the UFC. The one guy who's probably the best middleweight for several years, who's not been signed to UFC, is Mahid Khalidov. I know, I'm always killing these names, aren't I? Khalidov. Luke Barnett got destroyed. Standing overhand right again. Got caught with the overhand right. You know, a lot of guys, when these tall guys, they feel because they're tall they can get away with it by just leaning back or just move a bit, you know, because they've got this range. You know, guys are learning more and more to use their footwork to close the gap on these guys. They're using the jab, double jab, then step in with the overhand right to come over that kind of initial pouring of the strike to just get them. And that's what happened. He got rocked, and then he got killed off. Really, it was insane, and the power this man has is unbelievable. So that was the ACB card. If you didn't watch it, you're missing out, people. It was a really good card. I really enjoyed it. UFC had a card down in Brazil. A couple of results there which have an impact for fighters. I think one thing that shows testicular fortitude was Joe Soto in a bantamweight bout where he got clash of heads in the first, and he had this huge gash. Just blood was just pouring everywhere. The man went 3 rounds and won and looked fantastic. In fact, he fought even better after the cut than when he got it. Don't ask why, I don't know how, but Joe Soto, the man made his debut in a title fight because of an injury, and you know the guy, I've got a lot of respect for that man. He's come on and he's doing really well still in the bantamweight division. He's not holding back. Kevin Lee, that boy, he used a lot of mouth in the fight. Before the fight, came in, was kind of losing the fight, and then he turned it around. To be honest with you, he lost that first round against Francisco Trinaldo, and then turned it around, and he looked fantastic. got the victory and the finish. And I was, Kevin Lee's starting to turn things around. He's starting to click, things starting to click for him. He's still evolving, still growing. The rematch, Tim Means and Alex Oliveira, happened. Now, Tim Means won the last bout. I'll rephrase that. He was technically going to win that bout, even if he didn't throw the illegal knee. Oliveira was getting smashed. Then it happened again, the rematch here. And Oliveira, different game plan. He just took him down. Took Tim Means down, grappled with him, just outfought him, so to speak, in a way, without thinking. Sorry, when I say outfought him with his mind. Got the victory, got the choke, beat Tim Means, and that was it. That's, good night, thank you very much. Alex Oliveira, growing in the welterweight division. I think he's going to be one of them guys who's never going to be top 15 level, but he's always just going to be a fun guy to have in the welterweight division. Ray Borg came on and put on a hell of a performance in that flyweight division. He was not... I don't say he was going to be kind of deemed not to beat Fumaga. He came in and... Look, Ray Borg just is a kid who's grown and grown and grown, and I was super impressed. I would like to see Ray Borg against Joseph Benavidez. That's the next bout I'd like to see. Because I'd like to see how Ray Borg performs. Because in that bout, he didn't look out of his depth. He looked well in his way to perform. I know that Henry Cejudo and Benavidez done the fight stuff, but I'd like to see that matchup myself. Let's have a look at who else. Whew, yeah. Beneil Dariush against Edson Barboza was a fight that I was looking forward to. And it turned out to be a great bout. Dariush was doing some fantastic combinations, fantastic movements, was literally having that fight all his way until Barboza figured out what he was doing with stepping in with the jab and bringing his head down, and just figured it out. He just saw it a couple of times, saw it was coming, and then jumped with the flying knee and put Beneil Dariush to sleep. It was one of them wins where you go, potential knockout of the year. Beautiful. Fighter IQ on Edson Barboza is going through the roof. He is a guy who's in the 155 division, who's turned into that contender who everyone is not wanting to fight. No one wants to fight this guy at the moment because he can put you to sleep on the feet. Who they put him up with next, I don't know. But, oh my good googly boogly, he looks delicious at the moment. Main event was Kelvin Gastelum against what I would call now as the decrepit Vitor Belfort, the TRT-less Vitor. The fight started as I expected. Vitor to come out with a little burst to try and get the crowd going, get himself going, get a confidence boost. Kelvin just took it in stride, took a couple, not hard strikes, but took a couple of strikes. And then, if I'm honest with you, he figured out Vitor and just came on strong to Vitor, used his footwork, combinations that he's doing at King's MMA. And under... oh my gosh, who's the coach at King's MMA again? I'm drawing a blank here. Sorry about that. I'm going to... Senior moment. Rafael Cordero, there you go. He drawn some great combinations and basically finished Vitor Belfort, which is no surprise. What did you expect? Calvin now, he's getting Anderson Silva next. He's getting these guys who I understand they're trying to build Kelvin Gastelum up, but the guys that are past their prime and he's getting these wins on his record, and I'm thinking to myself, don't build him up too much because reality will kick in when he has to fight a Jacare or a Robert Whittaker even, or someone like that. So we need to be careful with what they're doing to Kelvin Gastelum. If they keep it 185, because there's guys out there who will probably just put him to sleep and just outpower him, outdominate him, and you gotta be careful with that. But anyway, that's happening. Vitor Belfort asked to fight CM Punk at light heavyweight. I don't know what for his last fight. It's when you've been hit in the head that many times like Vitor has, I think you start to say crazy shit, and that is one thing he said that I don't get. Just a couple of bits of news, so to speak. I've done my best to not say this and not talk about it, but there is a potential chance that it actually might happen. Mayweather and McGregor. I'm going to talk about it very quickly because Mayweather is going off to America this weekend to watch one of his compatriots compete in a pro boxing bout, and I think that's when they'll start to do interviews with him, and it's starting to pick up pace a bit now, but I'm still not overly keen for it. Anyhow, Paige Van Zandt recently moved back home in America to her home state in Oregon, is it? I think it's pronounced. I think it's Oregon, and she's left Team Alpha Male. Now, what does that mean for her as a fighter and herself? and Team Alpha Male's relationship as well. We don't know. Uriah Faber said that she's more than welcome to come back and train anytime she wants. It's going to be difficult with the distance that they have. It's not like it's just, a couple of miles away. In America, states are just, it's hundreds of miles. It's flights probably more than anything else. So where's she going to train? What kind of training is she going to have? Will that affect her as a fighter then in the next fight? It's a lot of things to consider because she has potential for the strawweight division of being a great addition for a long-term period kind of thing, like for 5, 6, 7 years if she wants to compete that long. You've got to think about these things like how will it affect her career. She maybe just felt a bit homesick. She wants to be at home, out the limelight, have a bit of a break. I don't know, but it's going to be look, people. It's going to be interesting what happens there. Okay, Misha Serkinov has been signed back to the UFC. Woo! Contracts ended. It was an uproar, media uproar. He's a great addition to light heavyweights. He's a great kind of competitor, fun to watch. Thankfully, he's back in there now. I think we will see. We've seen him. Oh yeah, we are. We are seeing him in Sweden against Özdemir, which is going to be a fun fight because Özdemir is a really talented light heavyweight guy. He beat OSP in his last bout, which I think a lot of people wrote him off. But he's a very good fighter. He's just not known. That's the only reason. So I think it's going to be a great bout, that one. There won't be co-main event. Some people said I don't think that will be co-main event. I think that'll be on the main card, but it won't be co-main event. Angela Lee, is she and Mackenzie Dern the next big thing in the women's MMA scene that aren't signed to UFC? There is talks about these girls potentially being in the UFC soon. For Mackenzie Dern, she's starting to show her striking a bit more. She needs to really nail her weight because she can't make weight off. So that's a big factor. This girl needs to start looking to manage her weight class, walk around right at the weight that she needs to fight at. Angela Lee is a big age star, but what kind of girls is she fighting there when, for example, she comes to fight in the UFC who have a bit more of a depth? Even Invicta, if I'm honest with you, even if she fought in Invicta. Couple of girls to look out for, a couple of names if you don't know who they are to look out for, and let's look. But last but not least, David Branch has re-signed with the UFC. The two weight class champion at World Series of Fighting is the light heavyweight and the middleweight champ. He's going to fight at middleweight in the UFC. Smart move against Jotko. Now that's a big fight to take because Jotko, people if you don't know, he's been coming on leaps and bounds since he signed with the UFC. Since that kid's been in there. And he's been like the underdog, just smashing things up. I think David Branch will be out of his depth in this one. I really do. I think it's going to be an interesting bout. He's got a lot to prove, David Branch, because he was earning big money at World Series of Fighting. He claims he's still getting the big money. I don't think he will be, but it's cute. So yeah, people, that's out for more on the results from the UFC. I'm talking about the Invicta FC card coming up. And thank you.